and start our presentation. What I'm talking about here at Tern is, our focus on building great companies. We really believe that with careful selection, there is an opportunity to generate winning returns and winning capable companies that will have scalable effects in the markets that they serve. First, the important thing here is how we move forward. But first, the disclosure statement, and then just talk about our vision. And the vision of Tern really is working to become the go-to investor for young entrepreneurs that are creating disruptive companies. And we look to review these business plans, and through our deal flow, look to pick the ones that we believe have the most significant capability to turn what are brownfield current environments or markets to greenfield opportunities by accelerating their digital transformation and creating value for our shareholders. And I think this transformation has been exacerbated by COVID, because it has created new ways of thinking about things that reflect the new normal. So, what's driving these new transformations? There are a number of key market drivers, but I think, as Gareth mentioned, what's really all about IR 4.0, or the Industrial Revolution 4.0, is the fact that we're moving from phones to things. We've moved from PCs to phones, where the phone has become an integral part of your banking experience and how you deal with your surgery and the GP at the surgery, in terms of now telehealth and moving medicines. But the key market drivers in this transition from phones to things, has been the catalyst of COVID, which has imposed contactless requirements. It's really changed the way people have to work, not just remotely, but in situations where you have to make maintenance calls, where you need to meet a patient. It's become contactless, and this requires new forms of communications, new forms of delivering information, as well as collecting information. And as Gareth mentioned, the cloud is the key element that is changing and helping the adoption of IoT, such that it can provide the analytics and better analytics to make better decisions. And as we're seeing with everything that we're doing in the real world today, with devices that have moved to the very edge of the internet, that are providing information back to organizations, this information from the edge is providing digital sensing of the physical world, and allowing for this contactless way of operating to exist. So as we look at these companies that we're trying to invest in to create value for our shareholders, as well as the companies we have already invested in, we're trying to leverage partnerships and activities in this area with these companies and their customers and their go-to-market partners to make these businesses successful. Now, why is, as Gareth pointed out, medical and the industrial segments so important to us? It's where the money is. There are over billions of dollars of investment already, and with two-digit CAGRs where these markets are growing. But most importantly, in the healthcare and the industrial segments, we're not waiting for new things to be developed. We're actually dealing with brownfield issues where they need to be transformed to take advantage of this new contactless environment. For example, the average regional hospital here in the United States has generally about 70,000 devices already installed in the hospital, providing some form of care and care management to its patients. Most of them not fully connected, and most of them not really secure. And those are what we see as the opportunities to be in this market, in this field. And what's driving it, as Gareth said, is Moore's Law. Moore's Law is really, the idea that the performance of devices double every 18 months, and the price is cut down in half. And if we look at this chart that reflects critical IoT sensor components, from 2015 to 25, 2025, we're looking at about a 60% reduction in overall cost. But what's more critical to the IoT market space is that we're looking at about a 6 times performance improvement. It's the horsepower of these chips is being multiplied 6 times. And what does this mean? This means that applications that require artificial intelligence, machine learning, or natural language processing, or neural networks now have greater capabilities out at the edge that they never had before. We're seeing processors today that 10 years ago were only a dream in terms of the ability to perform and deliver critical computing necessary to provide the graphics for virtual realities like the folks at Fundamental Surgery use, and the AI individual machines that talking medicine uses to hear the voice of the patient. So we're seeing a dramatic increase in the performance of products from Imagination, for example, and Infineon that are in the marketplace at a much reduced cost that provides for more of the democratization of the edge so that more things can be connected and more things can provide important information. So now, looking at our portfolio, one of the things that we set out to do in building this portfolio as part of our sort of transformed investment strategy is to create one that has synergies between the companies, synergies so that we can leverage the market knowledge and the contacts that we have and our portfolio companies have, and use that to create value by sharing customer information, products, and technologies such that we create a force multiplier on every pound that we invest in these companies. So looking at our flagship company, our first and original investment, Device Authority, Gareth gave a pretty good review of the importance of security, so I won't go there. But what we're doing at Device Authority to leverage this ability to secure devices is we've created a company with critical partnerships with leaders in cloud computing and physical secure componentry that is required to provide device life cycle management, the ability to take devices, fix them if they're old devices that need to be upgraded and perform in a more secure fashion, as well as new devices, but provide a capability for the beginning use to the end of use of those platforms and those devices within an application. If you just think about how many cell phones you've owned since you started using smartphones, the phones change, but the applications you use on your phones remain the same. And what Device Authority is providing is an ability to protect applications back at the hospital headquarters, but provide the hospital the ability to manage the devices as well as add new devices into the field. And that's what Device Authority is about and what they're doing with their partners. And we own 56.8% of that company's shares in the marketplace. Fundamental was talked about again with Gareth, but what COVID has done is really leveraged the opportunity for pharma companies to change the way they market, not only teach people how to use products, but market products. The ability for sales forces to make physical visits to doctors and hospitals and teaching schools has been dramatically curtailed. So having a virtual reality platform where masterclass capabilities can be delivered with their haptic VR platform. When I say haptic VR platform, what makes Fundamental, we believe, unique in the marketplace is that it provides haptics, or the sense of feel for a surgical procedure, as well as the visual reality to the doctor performing the procedure, such that the doctor can learn and practice, as well as with colleagues in the room, as Gareth said, have somebody whisper in his ear or her ear about what is required or what should be done, or a different way to think about using the device. But the idea of now marketing devices using virtual reality and haptics has provided the drug and the pharma and the digital device companies that are now medical device companies with the capability to accelerate deployments, and by accelerating deployments and adoption, accelerate revenues and return on their investments, which are substantial in the billions of dollars for R&D. And we believe Fundamental is leading the pack here in delivering on that capability. And at Tern, we now own 25.9% of the business. Next is NVMA, and NVMA you'll hear from today, and I'll have Peter really provide you with the rundown on what's going on at NVMA. But this is a business that is transformed from a services company with tremendous expertise into one now that's created a licensable product called Asset Minder, where Asset Minder enables companies to monitor and measure the performance of manufacturing lines, pumps, compressors, sensors that are attached to their machines, and make actionable decisions to reduce costly downtime and potential health and safety issues. So this is a really interesting company that is, again, because of COVID and contactless environments, really relevant in the marketplace and in the industrial segment. And we own 97% of this. NVMA own 50%, of this business. Next in our portfolio is Wild Networks, and we're really excited about Wild Networks because it's providing technology that is very timely again in today's world order, that delivers internet access to areas where it's generally not available. And we think generally not available as to third world countries. But if we just think about the farms, and there's a farm out in Wilshire that I know of, there is no access, to deal with the cows that are providing milk to Waitrose, to the farmer in that area. So this idea of where the internet is generally not available is an important step that Wild Networks is delivering, a capability that Wild Networks is delivering using satellites and satellite low-raw connectivity to generate this internet access, as well as through their mesh networking, also providing it in congested areas or areas, again, where many sensors need to be connected all at once, for example, sports venues. So Wild Networks, and Alistair will provide you some great examples when he speaks, is really changing the way the internet can be delivered, and how in areas like Wembley Stadium, where there's no internet when the stadium is filled because of the congestion, provide capabilities to address individual fans and customers to create loyalty programs and provide for additional revenues for the teams that are playing. And lastly, you'll hear today from Talking Medicines and Joe, which is our new exciting investment, which is, again, leveraging this idea of the new normal and providing pharma companies who spend over $30 billion a year in advertising that never gets directly to the patient, with the opportunity to really hear the voice of a patient, to go to the different social monitoring and venues that exist, like Reddit and Twitter, et cetera, and capture the voice of the patient so that pharmaceutical companies can really understand why someone is using a product, why someone stopped using a product, and other characteristics that help them make better decisions for the patients, that create better patient outcomes. And we believe across the board here, our businesses are really focused on environmental issues and social issues that we believe are transformational for Tern and our investors. So just quickly to talk about how we view our net asset value growth, as we really look to our investments with a clarity of focus. Are they in IoT? Do they really provide some environmental social benefit from the products or the platforms that they're providing into the marketplace? Do we as Tern have the ability to nurture or grow this investment with the skills that we have as the advisors and monitoring our investment and the capability to add to that? And then right from the beginning, we make the hard selections of these companies by trying to decide at the early days, where is a potential exit for this business, and what are the things that we need to do to grow this business and make it investable as well as attractive in the marketplace to a large company that is looking to solve a particular problem that we believe our portfolio company can address. And to provide you with an example here, we've taken for fundamental surgery where we made a two-step investment as we went into the company early days as a seed investor to help them build out their model, expand its capabilities with regard to the simulation and the channel marketing that was required, as well as provide some insights into the data capture. As a consequence of the work we did, we were able to, within about 18 months, bring in the Mayo Clinic, the Sana Hospital Group in Germany, and Downey investors. And we're able to take our seed investment at 1.9 million and now achieve about a 27% uplift in our net asset value at fundamental surgery, and have our investment at 26.9%, really reflecting a value of 3 million or an 11 million total market cap for the business. So what we did and how we did what we accomplished at Fundamental is what we're doing at every one of our companies, so that we can bring sustainable value, real value to our shareholders in terms of our ability to grow net assets within the name of our portfolio, in the structure of our portfolio. So we believe today Tern is really an attractive long-term growth opportunity for investors because we're focused on a really big market. We've had a confluence of events that was created by COVID that has created more relevance for what we're bringing into our portfolio and our companies, as well as the volume of connected devices and the horsepower within those connected devices are breaking down what were cost barriers or performance barriers, so that adoption is now accelerating. And we believe the two markets we're focused on are ripe for rapid growth and capability to move forward. So with that, I'll end my remarks, and I would like to introduce Alistair Williamson, the CEO of Wild Networks. Alistair has done an incredible job of strategizing and putting together a business model that where the strategy of bringing communications capabilities into this marketplace is really critical, and there is a bunch of opportunities that are the integration of that strategy and the tactics that Alistair will now talk to you about.